One of the first things you're going to have to remove is your exhaust system because it's going to be directly in your way. So we're going to cut that off first with a Sawzall. They're not even recognizable, and there's no way you could put any form of wrench on them of any kind. They originally were 15s, and now they're whatever the heck fits on it. But I'm not going to be doing it like that. I'm going to be cutting right here at the back of the transmission. Right there, it's the easiest spot to weld all the way around, and I can get up above it and not have an issue with it leaking. So now with the exhaust system removed, we can move on. Now you're going to want to remove your drive shaft from your guibo here, and the only way to do that is to remove this whole heat shield. And all the bolts that hold the heat shield up are all 13 millimeter. Sometimes when removing this cross member bolts, they'll be in there pretty good, and you might have to break them loose with a regular ratchet and extension. But once you break them loose, they should come right out with a small electric impact. Like so. Almost forgot, you're also going to have to remove the transmission brace. Now, these are all 13 millimeter nuts that go to bolts that come out of the chassis here and here. And there's also two right here that you can loosen up with a wrench. Don't forget, it's always important, no matter what any project you're working on, is that you have fun. So the next thing we're going to need for this guibo is you're going to need a 17 millimeter socket and a 16 millimeter wrench for the backside bolts. So you can slide this guibo back out of the output shaft, and just behind the center support bearing, it should slide right out of the rear drive shaft. Then you can take your drive shaft and set it aside. So now you guys are going to have complete access to your shift linkage here on the output shaft of the transmission. There is a shaft in the collar that goes on the output shaft of the transmission. There's a little ring that goes around this output shaft collar. You're going to take that ring and you're going to want to pry it up. It's a snap ring basically in a little channel. You're going to want to pry it back onto this section of the collar. And then you can have access to the dowel pin that goes straight up and down through this output shaft. What you're going to do is you're going to pop it down from the bottom with either really anything you can stuff in there, an Allen key, it doesn't matter. I don't know, it should fall right out. Once that's done, this whole piece should come right off. It'll look something like this. This will swing down, and then you're going to want to access this little flip pin up here. Let's see if I can't find it up here. This pin right here, you're going to want to access, and it hinges up, and then it slides out to the left. There we go. That little pin should slide right up, and then there we go. This pops up, this little pin there, and then you wiggle it out to the left. You're going to use this little nub in a screwdriver, and you're going to pry between it, and it should pop the other side out. Just like so. And then you can fit a screwdriver in here, pop it all the way out. You're going to twist this, twist the screwdriver in between it, and it should pry it right apart. And there we go. Do whatever you gotta do, wiggle it. It may be a little difficult. Grab it, give her a little wiggle. The other side of this nub, pry right here, and this should come almost all the way up. Wiggle it around a little more, And this will pop right out. And then your shifter will slide right out. Come out. Almost. Your shifter should slide right out this grommet in the back. It's got a little nub on it, so it may give you a little bit of trouble. But then there you go. That's your shifter. So when your shift linkage is in the car, this back end slides into a grommet. This end lays down into a grommet with a pin that goes through it that holds it to the transmission. And then this little collar with this little snap ring grabs onto an output shaft with a hole in it for the pin to go through. And then you shift and it pivots off of the transmission and selects your gear. And when you turn this, it rotates that pin and selects a different set of gears. And that's how it works. A lot of people upgrade this piece and this piece for it to be longer, so the less throw of this means the longer throw down here, effectively making it a short shifter.